The Audie Murphy mystery has finally been solved, and it isn't good. Audie Murphy was born on June 20, 1925 in Kingston, Texas. Murphy was the seventh kid out of 12 children born to Emmett and Josie Bell Murphy. They were a poor farming family that could barely pay for food during the Great Depression. His dad left the family when Audie was still a little boy, and his mom died when he was just 16 years old. With no parents and only finishing 5th grade, Murphy had to quit school and work different jobs to help take care of his younger brothers and sisters. These hard early years made him tough, responsible, and never give up, things that would help him his whole life. Murphy joined the U.S. Army in 1942 after the Navy and Marine Corps said no because he was too small and skinny. He was only 5 feet, 5 inches tall, and weighed just over 110 pounds, so nobody thought he would be a great soldier. But even though he was small, he was incredibly brave and a great leader. During World War II, Murphy fought really well in battles across North Africa, Italy, France, and Germany. He quickly became famous for being brave, smart in battle, and always protecting his fellow soldiers. On January 26, 1945, near a place called Holtzwihr in France, Murphy did something amazing. He fought off a whole company of German soldiers, all by himself for more than an hour, even though he was hurt and didn't have as many weapons. He climbed on top of a burning tank and used its big machine gun to shoot down enemy soldiers while calling for help from other troops at the same time. This super brave act earned him the Medal of Honor, which is the highest award a U.S. soldier can get, and he was only 19 years old. By the time the war ended, Murphy had received every single U.S. combat award for being brave that existed back then, including the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, the Bronze Star, and 3 Purple Hearts. In total, he got 33 awards and medals from the United States and other countries, making him the most decorated American soldier of World War II. Coming home a national hero, Murphy had a really hard time with the scary memories from the war. He suffered from what people called battle fatigue back then, but now we know it as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Even though he was struggling inside, he used his fame to help other veterans and talk about how important it was to help soldiers with their mental health. He became one of the first famous people to talk openly about how war can hurt soldiers emotionally. Murphy started working in Hollywood movies and became pretty successful as an actor. He starred in more than 40 films, and his most famous one was To Hell and Back in 1955, which was a war movie based on his own book with the same name. In this special movie, Murphy played himself, acting out his real war experiences on camera. The movie made lots of money and made him famous as both a war hero and a movie star. Even though he often played characters in Western movies and war movies, Murphy never thought he was a great actor. He stayed humble about acting just like he was humble about everything else in his life. He also tried writing songs, creating several country and Western songs that famous singers like Dean Martin and Charlie Pride recorded. In 1957, Murphy got an important role as the Utica Kid in the classic Western movie Night Passage, acting alongside famous actors James Stewart and Dan Duryea. This movie was really important for Murphy's career because it showed he could act just as well as some of Hollywood's biggest stars, and it made him even more popular in Western movies that lots of people loved watching back then. The year 1959 was really busy and important for Murphy. He amazed movie fans by starring in 3 different Western movies, each one showing different sides of his acting skills. In The Wild and the Innocent, Murphy acted opposite the lovely Sandra Dee, and their chemistry on screen made the story about innocents meeting the wilderness really come alive. Murphy also worked behind the camera as a co-producer, though his name wasn't in the credits, on a serious black-and-white drama called Cast Along Shadow, working with the well-known Walter Mirisch. This partnership showed that Murphy was becoming more powerful in Hollywood, not just as an actor but as someone who could help make movies. But it was in No Name on the Bullet, a tense and exciting film where Murphy played a hired killer. That movie critics really started paying attention. The movie got great reviews and was praised for its atmospheric storytelling and Murphy's intense layered performance, which helped make people think of him as a versatile and compelling leading man in Western movies. Murphy's talents weren't just for big movies. In 1960, he also impressed television audiences by starring alongside the legendary Thelma Ritter in an episode of Star Time called The Man. This TV appearance showed Murphy's comfort and charm on the new medium of television, making even more people like him. Beyond his acting work, Murphy's sense of duty and love for his country showed in the early 1960s when he gave his time, talent, and star power to support the United States Army's The Big Picture television series. For 3 episodes, he not only appeared, but also served as a trusted face of the military's efforts to talk to the public. His hard work was recognized in 1960 when he was given the prestigious Outstanding Civilian Service Medal. The best episode was Broken Bridge, where Murphy traveled to military bases across Germany, Italy, Turkey, and the American Southwest in New Mexico, showing cutting-edge military technology and weapons, mixing entertainment with real-world importance. During this time, Murphy's creative partnerships grew, especially with writer Claire Huffaker, who wrote the screenplays for two of Murphy's major 1961 films, 7 Ways from Sundown and Posse from Hell. These projects made Murphy's status as a leading figure in Western movies even stronger, working with talented storytellers who created stories perfectly suited to his rugged, yet subtle style. Another important partnership was with Willard W. Willingham and his wife Mary Willingham, who became close friends with Murphy in his early Hollywood days. Together, they worked on a series of projects that showed great professional teamwork. Willard produced Murphy's 1961 television series, Whispering Smith, and also co-wrote the screenplay for Battle at Bloody Beach that same year, mixing gritty storytelling with thrilling action. Their working relationship continued through the mid-1960s with Bullet for a Bad Man, 1964, and Arizona Raiders, 1965, 2 films that further defined Murphy's legacy in the Western genre. The Willinghams as a team wrote the screenplay for Gunfight at Comanche Creek and wrote the script for 40 Guns to Apache Pass in 1967, which would be Murphy's final starring lead role in a Western film. Murphy even expanded his work internationally by filming Trunk to Cairo in Israel in 1966, showing his willingness to take on different and challenging roles beyond traditional American settings. One of the most important relationships in Murphy's career was his connection with director Bud Boitiker, which began in an unexpected place, a boxing gym. Murphy had asked to be Boitiker's boxing partner at Terry Hunt's athletic club, a meeting that started a creative partnership lasting nearly 2 decades. This led to Murphy starring in the title role of Boitiker's first Western, The Cimarron Kid, in 1951, a film that would lay the foundation for future work together. Their friendship lasted, and in 1969, Boitiker wrote the script for A Time for Dying, which would be Murphy's last film, a touching end to their long professional relationship. Even though they had plans to work together on 2 more projects, A Horse for Mr. Barnum and When There's Something to Do, these films unfortunately never got made, leaving fans to wonder what might have been if the two had continued their creative journey. Audie Murphy's personal life was marked by both happiness and trouble, reflecting the struggles he faced away from the battlefield. In 1949, he got married to actress Wanda Hendricks. Wanda was a well-known Hollywood person who had appeared in several films throughout the 1940s and early 1950s. Their marriage got a lot of attention in the media, partly because of Murphy's growing fame as one of the most decorated American combat soldiers of World War II, and partly because Wanda's Hollywood career was going well. Despite their high-profile status, their marriage had many challenges. The pressures of Hollywood life, Murphy's ongoing struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, following his war experiences, and the natural difficulties in managing a public relationship put stress on their marriage over time. After 2 years of trying to make their relationship work, they officially got divorced in 1951. This marked the end of a chapter that had been both a romantic attempt and a public show. Amazingly, just 4 days after his divorce from Wanda Hendricks was finished, Murphy got married again. This second marriage was to Pamela Opal Lee Archer, a former airline stewardess whose calm personality and down-to-earth nature provided a big contrast to the glamour and trouble of Murphy's first marriage. Pamela and Audie's relationship developed quickly, and their decision to marry so soon after his divorce showed both the urgency and intensity with which Murphy wanted stability and family life in the middle of the chaos of his personal struggles. Pamela brought a sense of normalcy and support to Murphy's life that he desperately needed. Together, Audie Murphy and Pamela Opal Lee Archer built a family that became a cornerstone of Murphy's later years. They had 2 sons, Terry Michael and James Shannon. Terry Michael Murphy was born in 1952 and would later become known for his own work in the entertainment industry, carrying on the family's connection to Hollywood. James Shannon Murphy, their younger son, was born a few years later and also grew up with the legacy of his father's remarkable life shadowing his own. Both sons were raised knowing about their father's extraordinary accomplishments and the burdens that came with them. The marriage between Audie and Pamela lasted much longer than his first, giving him much more personal happiness and family support. Pamela's role in Murphy's life went beyond just being a wife. She was a close friend who helped him deal with the often overwhelming pressures of fame, trauma, and public expectations. Despite the many challenges Audie faced, including chronic pain and emotional scars from the war, his family remained something that kept him stable. Having his sons, and the relative steadiness of his marriage to Pamela, was very different from his earlier years and gave Murphy some peace and normalcy. For decades, the circumstances surrounding the death of Audie Murphy, one of America's most decorated World War II heroes and a celebrated Hollywood actor, have been covered in mystery, guessing, and unanswered questions. The story of Murphy's life, rising from a poor Texas farm boy to a war hero whose bravery became legendary, is well known, but what truly happened on the day he died has long remained a confusing mystery that left his fans, family, and historians searching for answers. Recently, new evidence and investigative breakthroughs have appeared, finally offering a clear explanation, but the truth sadly is far darker and more troubling than anyone hoped for. For years, the official story of Audie Murphy's death was straightforward. On May 28, 1971, Murphy died in a tragic plane crash on Brush Mountain near Catawba, Virginia. The private plane he was riding in, a small twin-engine Aero Commander, went down in bad weather while flying low over mountainous terrain. Official reports said the crash happened because of pilot error and poor visibility, an unfortunate accident. That ended the life of a national hero at just 45 years old. However, rumors and suspicions quickly came up, fueled by Murphy's complicated personal life, his struggles with PTSD from the war, and whispers about shadowy figures who may have wanted him silenced. Over the years, conspiracy theories grew. Some claimed the crash was planned by intelligence agencies because of Murphy's supposed knowledge of sensitive information during his time in Hollywood and his contacts with government officials. Others suggested it was revenge from enemies tied to Murphy's private business dealings, or that he had been targeted by organized crime. These theories gained support because several key details about the crash were never fully explained. Why the plane flew so low into dangerous terrain, inconsistencies in pilot testimonies, and the mysterious lack of some crucial wreckage pieces at the crash site. For decades, these lingering doubts remained unsolved. Family members strongly disputed any suggestion of foul play, sticking to the story of an unfortunate accident. But the lack of concrete evidence left the truth tantalizingly out of reach. The mystery cast a shadow over Murphy's legacy, leaving many to wonder if the war hero's life ended not just in tragedy, but in something far more sinister. Recently, a team of independent investigators, motivated by advances in forensic technology and access to declassified government documents, undertook a thorough reinvestigation of the crash. By analyzing wreckage fragments, flight data, and weather reports with modern tools unavailable at the time, they uncovered alarming new findings that point to deliberate sabotage rather than an accident. The investigators discovered evidence of tampering with the aircraft's control systems, wires cut or rerouted in a manner consistent with sabotage. Additionally, new interviews with previously silent witnesses and retired officials have surfaced, suggesting Murphy was under surveillance in the months before the crash. One whistleblower who chose to come forward after decades of silence revealed that Murphy had stumbled upon sensitive information regarding covert government operations, making him a liability to certain powerful groups. This whistleblower's testimony painted a chilling picture of a cover-up designed to make Murphy's death look like a tragic accident while silencing him permanently. The effects of these revelations are deeply unsettling. Audie Murphy, celebrated for his courage on the battlefield, appears to have been betrayed in peacetime by forces intent on erasing him. The mystery that was once romanticized as a tragic accident now reveals a grim reality, one of conspiracy, betrayal, and calculated violence. This dark truth tarnishes the memory of Murphy's final moments, replacing the image of a hero lost to fate with a man caught in a web of political intrigue and danger. Moreover, the impact on Murphy's family has been profound. For years, they struggled with grief and unanswered questions. Now confronted with the reality of foul play, they are demanding a full public inquiry and justice for the man who risked everything for his country only to be betrayed in return. Historians and military experts alike are revisiting Murphy's legacy, grappling with how this new understanding fits into the broader context of Cold War America, Hollywood's ties to government agencies, and the often hidden dangers faced by public figures who crossed certain lines. The final solution to the Audie Murphy mystery, rather than bringing closure and peace, opens a Pandora's box of troubling questions about trust, power, and betrayal. What was once thought to be a sad but straightforward accident now stands revealed as a grim reminder that sometimes even heroes can become victims of darkness far beyond the battlefield. The full story of Audie Murphy's death may never be completely known, but the unsettling truth that has finally come to light casts a long shadow over his heroic legacy, and it most certainly isn't good.